Welcome back, Monday Command. What a game, Z. What a game.
What a
Washington
game.
holds on for a wild 20-19 win over the Saints. We got a lot to break down today, man.
Yes, sir. That's right, bro. A nail biter to the very end. Spencer Rattler came in and made the Saints look good. Came back and made the game way too close, but the defense was able to hold firm and when it mattered the most. Plus, we got one more step to get closer to locking in a playoff spot. So we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and joining us today, man, the one, the only, Juan Gotti, man. He's blessing us. He's gonna give us his insights. I'm sorry, on the Commanders, man. But here we go. Reedie and Zee starts now. Welcome back, man. Everybody, man, do me a favor, man. Like, share, subscribe, share the broadcast, man. But joining us today is Juan Gotti. What's up, bro?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? I appreciate y'all for having me on. And it wasn't how I drew it up, but hey, a win is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely is.
Thanks for coming on with us, bro. We definitely appreciate you. And we're gonna get right into it. Go ahead, Reed, kick it off.
Tough nail biter that came down to the end. But you know, it is what it is. You know, we got saved on a 2-point conversion, the attempted 2-point conversion that they missed, but it just was a lot of things that came down the stretch that I'm just not too pleased with as it relates to the kicking game, which was the elephant in the room all the week before last, and it continues to be that same thing. Greg Joseph missed 54-yard field goal, came back to kind of bite us in the second half. But you know, what are your thoughts on that, Z?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, as I was watching the game, I kind of agreed that kicking a field goal at that point might have been a good move. But after sitting and thinking about it and watching the rewatch and everything, and as we was discussing last night, I realized that now we definitely should have punted and pinned them right there. You know, turning the field around and giving Spencer Rattler only 30, 40 yards to drive and try to go get a winning score, game time score, was definitely risky on our part, no matter who the quarterback is. Also, with a guy like Tress Wade, all pro punter, you got to put it in his hands, let him do his job. And at the, hopefully we can pin him at the one right there. But at least, if we don't, it'll be a lot better than flipping the field right there and allowing them to come down in such a quick manner and score. And then ultimately, luckily, the 2-point conversion was not converted. But it definitely was a risky moment in the game, and Dan Quinn kind of talked about it and what his mindset was at that point. But I don't think you put that in the hands of Joseph with the mishap, the kicking issues he's recently had in his last stint. And then also, we just continue to have kicking issues as a whole. So I would like to see us try to figure that out. I don't know if we're going to, again this week, if we're going to look at other kickers out there. But it's definitely something that should be discussed. Or even if Zane come back, however it works out, we need to figure out and shore up this kicking problem. Yeah.
What do you think, Juan?
What you think, Juan?
Yeah, so I want to first start by saying that clock debacle at the end, that touchdown shouldn't have even happened. Okay, we shouldn't have happened in the moment. I didn't even realize the clock stopped because I'm sitting there, y'all. I'm like, come on, stop playing with me. Like, we not about to lose to the Saints. Like, I'm not even looking at the clock. But then after the game concluded, they say, man, the clock should have kept going. It was no reason for them to even get that snap off. That's one. Now back to the missed field goal that you brought up. I understand that point, and I hear a lot of other fans feel exactly like you. My issue is with Cliff Kingsbury on that drive, okay? I love Cliff, love what he did that whole game, but you cannot stop the clock in that situation. Remember, he threw a screen play. It was a screen pass on that drive, and it was incomplete. It stopped the clock, which made the Saints have one timeout left. So if you made the Saints, whether you was going to get the first down, pick up the first down, whatever, you run the ball there, continue the clock moving, make the Saints use all their timeouts, then you punt the ball and make Spencer Rattler drive the length of the field with no timeouts. However, since we didn't, they had a timeout left and they were still going to be able to stop the clock regardless. So that's why I agree with kicking a 54-yard field goal, because we didn't do our job offensively with making them use all of their timeouts and then obviously flipping the field. So I had no issues with kicking a field goal. You gotta make it. I mean, 54 yards. I understand you had with the Giants recently or whatever. He wasn't that good in his previous stints or whatever. But you gotta make the kick, man. You really do. And with everything that happened that game, especially later in the second half, he makes that field goal. It's a 2-possession game and they have no shot. So as mad and upset as I want to be at, Jaden Daniels for missing the throw, Frankie Louvu for dropping a pick, Jeremy Chin not running hard on a play that netted him 50 yards. Like, it's so much that we can pick from, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get to it. You make that kick right there, or Cliff Kingsbury, keeps the clock going, they're not in that position to score. So that's just my take on it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jaden, go ahead, Z.
Nah, I was definitely going to say that. And also I was going to say that going on that drive, if you notice, with typically you're gonna run the clock down, force them to call timeouts, and the play clock is what I'm saying. So on those drives, Jaden's hiking the ball with 10, 15 seconds left. You know what I mean? We would like to see them. I thought we had better clock management than before. But even in those moments, we got to be mindful. Like, all right, calm down, Jaden. Take your time. Milk as much clock as possible. Because in those moments, you hiking it with 15, 20 seconds left. You know what I mean? That adds up over a few plays. You giving them more and more time. So we could have definitely managed the clock even better, even on Jaden and the offense side as well, not just the coaches.
Yeah, no doubt, no question. I'm with both of you on both of those takes. But it wasn't a bad day for Jaden Daniels. He had 25 completions. I believe he started the game where he was like, what was his completion percentage in the first half? It was something crazy. It was like 17 for 19.
17 with 19.
Yeah, 17 for 19, leading to 2 scoring drives to Terry McLaurin. He finished the day with 25 or 31 for 226, 2 touchdowns, a passer rating of 118. But what can we do? Because we've seen this story recently, like the efficiency that we have in the first half, we don't carry that over until the third into the fourth quarter. Besides the Titans game where we kind of were just up on them and we just kind of poured it on them. But in the second half, coming down the stretch, we're unable to score points, and I believe that's going to be pivotal down the stretch as we get into Philadelphia and even Atlanta, because we can't play how we played yesterday against either of those teams and expect us to come out with victories, and especially this week against Philadelphia. So what do you guys take on that?
You can go
yeah,
first,
man. Yeah, okay, appreciate it, bro. First things first with that. Even the Titans game, I was there live in attendance and it started off really good. I'm like 28-0 first half. But remember that third quarter, it got a little dicey. Early stage of the fourth, we just completely went down. And I really don't know what it is about this team in the second half. It just hasn't clicked really all season long. And again, as you mentioned, it's going to hurt us big time, especially I'm looking at next week. We play like we did next week versus the Eagles. It might not even be close. The way that they can run the ball, the way that they can find ways to win. Say what you want about them, they find ways to win games. And we can't have missed opportunities like we did. And I think it's really the execution, fellas. I don't think it's the coaching staff. Again, offensively, Cliff Kingsbury can't make Jaden Daniels throw an accurate ball down the field and put it in the hands of Terry McLaurin. Cliff Kingsbury ain't telling Terry McLaurin, slow down, Terry. What you stop running for? Because if you would have kept running, Terry should have had a legacy game yesterday. 4 touchdowns, 200+ receiving yards. You can okay. Like Cliff and the coaching staff, everybody, Joe Witt Jr. can't tell Frankie Louvu catch the ball, can't make Mike Sanford still catch his second pick of the game, can't tell Jeremy Chin to keep running. The execution is there. It is not there. It's the players. It's not the coaching staff, which, in my opinion, is kind of a breath of fresh air to say, because typically in the past, it's been a mixture of both and mainly the coaching staff. So it feels good to put it on the players' execution. That's what gives me hope that this is going to get fixed, but it has to at some point, or it's going to come back to, rear its ugly head yet again. And almost did yesterday. And we have 3 games that we should win. Or I should say 2, because I know that Philly game, even though I'm counting it as a victory, because we had them suckers the first time. I don't think they're going to beat us. Yeah, I don't think they're going to beat us next week. But obviously that's a big game. So, but I'm looking at Dallas and Atlanta, like those are games you should win, but those are 2 teams that can very well beat you. And if they're in the spot how the Saints was yesterday, you lose those games. So I'm putting it solely on the players' shoulders of execution or poor execution.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you on that. And it's funny because, years previous, we would start out slow in the first half and try to gear it up in the second half. And this year, it's the total opposite. So it's definitely something interesting and to keep our eye on. But it does make you wonder. I think it's definitely execution. Like, on the rewatch, you see some of those pressures where, Jaden was getting. If you could stand in there and just make some of them throws or hit your check down, you'll be able to, gain more yards and take less sacks. A lot of times as the pressure was coming, he was just ready to run. So, you got to stand in there a little bit some more times, and you just got to see the field. But also, I think on the flip side of it too is with the play calling. Play calling gets get real iffy come second half with Cliff. And pretty much yesterday, even though B-Rob had 21 carries, I still don't feel like he was used. Like the second half, we ran the ball enough. We definitely still got away from the run game. B-Rob, he wasn't getting, chunk plays as he did in the Tennessee game. But, I think that if you continue to feed B-Rob, we'll definitely could see difference. He's one of those backs that as the game go along, he gets stronger and he gets better. So I think we just need to keep feeding him. And also, like, even when we looked at him when we was down on the goal line, you get a little bit of, you got the offense flowing, you give B-Rob on that little quick screen, and he gets to probably about 15, 20 yards on that. We get down to the 1. And then, I don't know what the hell you call it. Then on third down, instead of just running a dive, I would even went for it on 4th right there on the 1. But you come around and you run a boot or you trying to run a play action and, Cam Jordan reads it and he's all over it. And it just stops us right there. And now we got to kick a field goal. So it's just definitely was some questionable moments of the play calling. But like you said, execution is always, normally will trump that because typically, like they always say, it's typically somebody open on every play, in the NFL. So it's just reading, seeing what you need to see, and executing all around the board. So I would like to see some, tuning up on both parts moving forward because we're going to need it against, the team like the Eagles. We talked about it. I was telling Reedie last week, and he hounded me about it, but I got a little apology last night. So I was happy to see that. But, I do fear the Eagles, man. They find a way to win. They, they have a turmoil in the locker room, and they still won, 10, 11, 10 straight games? So they are still find a way to execute. So at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, the execution is very important, and we're going to need it moving forward. So we got to tighten up, man.
Yeah, I would say, just on my watch, I thought that he was a little antsy with his feet a little bit, but clearly from what I've seen, it really wasn't that much separation besides, Terry McLaurin. But, I just felt like you said, the play calling was slightly questionable because when the first time they went up top to Terry and he overthrew him, then like 2 plays later, they went back to the same thing. I get that you get in the man-to-man coverage and you're trying to take a shot down the field, but I thought in that time of the game, it wasn't necessarily necessary. And then also another thing that happened was the third time that they went downfield to Terry. I don't know what the refs is looking at because clearly that's pass interference. Like he was all over that, and like the refs played a pivotal game. And just how, as Juan mentioned before about the 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter, they shouldn't even got that touchdown. It should have been at least maybe 1 second when he snapped the ball. He wouldn't have been able to spike it, and the game would have been over. But that was highly questionable. The ref said after the game that they made a mistake, but that could have cost us the game if we just being honest. And like you said, Z, that execution is going to be pivotal for us down the stretch. And I'm under the impression and I'm under the thought process that we need every point that we can get because personnel wise, we're not there yet where we need to be. I mean, we're much improved from previous seasons, but every single point that we can get, we need to get, and we need to fix this kicker situation before it comes back to bite us in the ass because, you know, these better teams, even getting into the playoffs, like it's gonna be defensive battles, and we just got to be able to score these points. But it's just a lot of missed opportunities, not able to capitalize, you know, down the stretch, missed field goals. I mean, it's the same song and dance. So today's Tell the Truth Monday. So I'm curious to see what comes out of that and just how we could come out and play next week. But how can we improve? What do you guys need to see like offensively, like improvements that can get us back to playing the football that we've been playing, that success we've been having with running the ball. You know, you also talked about down the stretch giving the ball to Brian Robinson, but I mean, if we're being honest, he had 21 carries. I mean, that's kind of like where he's been at this year. I mean, I don't see guys on our team getting 30 carries a game. I mean, it was like 34 carries total across the board. A lot of them was, you know, off script runs by Jaden, but you know, Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, they gave us absolutely nothing. And we have really one wide receiver. I'm curious to see what Osborne brings to the table. But like, what do you guys think that we need to do down the stretch to kind of put ourselves in position to win these next 3 games?
Well, definitely on the run, as far as running the ball, we had success early on because we mixed in. I think yesterday, McNichols and Rodriguez, they didn't have many carries. You know, I mean, looking back,
total for the two of them,
they had 3. Yeah, that's crazy. So I mean, you can't really say that they was in the mix or they didn't give us much. They didn't really get the opportunities to. You know, I mean, typically when they're getting in the flow and getting in the flow of things, and B-Rob, you know, he normally would have less courage. So I think that yesterday he still could have, if we would have even ran the ball with them more, even if it ain't B-Rob, just kind of find ways to, because we didn't trail in the game. We just got pass happy. So it's like, and I knew the game was kind of getting close and we wanted to, you know what I mean, try to, I guess we always talk about attack, which is fine. But I think also you got to take mind of the flow of the game. And I think yesterday running the ball more would have helped. But also we got to stop killing ourselves. I mean, on the touchdowns, the kids, it was an illegal shift on that. We had 9 penalties yesterday for 84 total yards. Like, we hurting ourselves. So I think as we move forward, you know, early on when we was going through those first 9 games, penalties wasn't high for us. We converted on 3rd downs, we converted on 4th downs, and we had very well 1st and 2nd down efficiency as far as, you know, I mean, getting chunk plays and setting us up for those 3rd and 4th and short. So I think that we just need to get back to that. So finding that groove and finding that mixture, and, you know, move forward from there. But we can't continue the same formula that we've been doing over these past, I would say, it was 8 and 5, so over these past 4 to 5 games. I think we just need to tighten up there, but we'll see what you got, Juan.
Yeah, I'm just gonna really echo what you said because I mean it goes back to my main point of execution. I think we've been hurting ourselves plenty of times over this stretch, as you mentioned earlier in the season. Remember, we were saying, "Hey, man, this offensive line you ain't hearing nothing from this offensive line. Jaden is well protected. We ain't having no penalties." Now it's kind of the total opposite, especially yesterday with no Tyler Biotis. I think him missing this game showed us how important he is to this offensive line. Brian Robinson, yeah, he had 21 carries, but it wasn't a B-Rob typical 21 curry kind of game. Another thing that I kind of picked up on that I really dislike about B-Rob now, and he wasn't like this early on in this first 2 seasons. He feels like he's Jahmyr Gibbs or somebody because every time he gets the ball, he's looking to bounce out to the left, bounce out to no B-Rob,
like
just
run through these dudes.
Yes, what play was it? Was it a catch early on in the game?
I know you're talking about. It was that catch he tried to cut back. You're not that shifty.
Yeah, that one. And then it was also another play that kind of, allude to our points of just run forward. He made I think it was a catch or a run where he literally just ran forehead of steam. 2 Saints came to tackle him, and he bounced right off of him and got like an extra 3 or 4 yards. I'm like, that's you. You're not looking for no cutback lane. You're not looking for nothing. Just run forward because they do not want to tackle you. So I just want them to get back to that. I do feel like we should have run the ball a lot more. But as you also mentioned, the OZ penalty that was a killer. Jay and Daniels, why are you stretching out, bro? Just you at the one, you stretching out. Tyrann Mathieu, veteran play right there, knocked the ball back to the 7. We still scored on that drive somehow. I'm not complaining fully because we got points, but if we didn't, we would have been looking back at that play. De'Ami Brown climbs the ladder, makes a great catch.
Yeah.
Flag. No Nick Algretti, flag. Like, we are killing ourselves, and that's been the theme of this season. That's why when I talk the way I do to people and say, I know we're not the most talented team. We're not as talented as Philly, as Detroit, as Buffalo, as all these teams.
Yeah.
But if you really watch our games and put it into its proper perspectives, who is really beating us? Yeah. We're beating ourselves. Pittsburgh beat ourselves, dropped overthrows. Luke McCaffrey wide open on that game. That literally seals it. That was Zach Ertz too. Obviously the Dallas games, we let them hang around. I mean, come on, they were the better team that day, even though they really weren't. They beat us. Okay, I'll give us that loss. That Philly game, we were leading that whole entire game into the fourth quarter. We beat ourselves. All these losses that we had this season and the way we end some of these nail-biter wins. So again, it just goes back to me. What I think can fix it is just us completing these plays, execution, because the plays are there to be made on both offensively and defensively. You just gotta, complete them. I wish Chris Harris was still around in the building because he would be chewing these DBs and defensive players out because they clearly don't like nice things.
Yeah.
I agree.
Go ahead,
Reed. No, you go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was, I mean, we're finally seeing like these mistakes, overthrows, and we just got to be honest with ourselves. We do have a rookie quarterback. As well as Jaden Daniels has played, we have to expect growing pains and things of that nature. Like the connection between him and Terry for a major part of the season has been there. So I just chalk that up to that. And, we just got to, like you said, we have to execute. We're kind of killing ourselves with the untimely penalties and things of that nature. So I'm going to move on to the defense because, I don't know what we need to do to be able to stop the run because it's like down the stretch in games. Are they getting tired or like what's going on? Like, do we need to play more complementary football where the offense is on the field more? I mean, we led in time of possession. They only had 19 minutes or something in time of possession. And so you wasn't on the field that long, but like, why are we giving up this stuff late in games? That's my pain point. And like, how can we be better as a defense overall?
I think with the addition of Marshawn Lattimore, that helps. Like yesterday, I literally, I understand people was excited about the Marshawn Lattimore debut. You had people say, hey, Jake Hanna playing, pick this, pick that. I would love that, right? But he did exactly what he was brought here to do. That is literally take away one side of the field, force Spencer Rattler, force Jake Hanna to only work the other side of the field. And that's exactly what he did. So one, defensively, it's gonna get better because of Marshawn Lattimore, and I can't wait for this matchup against AJ Brown next week. It's gonna be a really good one. Other than that, really, man, again, it just goes back to execution because we're making the plays. They're there to be made. The pass rush to me has kind of lacked off a little bit. Dante Fowler did get hit with, I would say, one BS penalty flag yesterday. You could argue two, but the first one I think it was around his head and neck area, so you can call that one. The second one was trash. That's, if anything I could pick at about the defense, I would say the lack of the pass rush. We did have some sacks yesterday, but a lot of that was credited to just Jake Hanna being, not a good quarterback at this stage of his career. But that's something that I do want to see us address. I want to see us get back to using Frankie Louvu as a a blitzer, as a guy that's coming off of the edge, and get more creative with the pass rush. That's probably the only thing I can nick at with this defense. But other than that, I think we're creating a no-fly zone. I don't know how y'all feel about this. I hear a lot of people just screaming, put Mikey Sanders still back in the slot next year. I think I know he was drafted as a slot, and that ultimately may be his natural position. I like him on the outside. I like running it back with the 3 we got now. Of course, you can add in the off season. I'm not telling you not to draft a corner if you see it fit or bring in another corner free agency, but I like the 3 we got now and the lineup that we got now. And one more thing, as I might say, please keep Benjamin St. Juste. How did he find his way on the field yesterday? He gets in for one play and he gets a penalty. Put him in street clothes, man. Why is he even suiting up? I'd rather have Michael Davis over him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
No, you don't. Not Mike Davis.
Hey, look, I was about to say we were better off keeping Emmanuel Forbes, but I ain't even gonna go there either. No.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, St. Juste, I'm with you. I think he needs to be in street clothes. I think he needs to be inactive. But if he is playing like I say this all the time, St. Juste isn't that bad. If he just stopped grabbing, he would be fine. He's in position to make plays. He just doesn't make the plays. With Lattimore coming over, like that should alleviate some of it. But down the stretch, the last couple of games, they've actually been playing better than what they were playing in the first part of the season. But I don't even think it's like necessarily like the secondary that's really the issue. It's stopping the run. We can't stop the common cold. We can't stop nobody. Like it's like first half we kind of dominated a little bit and we looking real good, but it's always in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line. Like Dan Quinn always talking about these game time moments, the moments that when we're giving everything up, we're getting gashed, and when the gotta have it times of the game is just like my pain point.
Yeah, and the fact that they even draw up the field, up down the field on that last drive, just shows that they knew and believed that everybody believes that we're weak in the run. Under a minute left and you just constantly run the draws and was getting chunks of yards doing it. So it's definitely something we need to shore up. And, I don't know if that means, this possible return to John Allen, if we're really looking forward to that. Hopefully this week we see that they open up that 21-day window to kind of bring him back in. They're saying that after they examined him, they went in for the surgery. They realized it was a partial tear, not a full tear. So that kind of helped, his recovery speed up. And they kept it on the hush for quite a long time. So they probably already been, banking on that in a sense. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back a lot sooner than we thought. But also on the defense side of it, it goes back to, it's a love-hate thing with St. Jude because, yes, I agree with Reedie where I think that he has the tangibles. Like, he got the right height, right size, the right length. He can defend against these guys, but he's just so antsy, so touchy. And it's just, he really, I feel like with some more time with Marshawn, he should be able to clean that up. We'll see. But like to be in, and he just make it hard for people that try to defend him because we even talked about before where St. Jude gets scored on, we in an uproar. We on his ass about it. Mike got scored on quite a few times this year. Ain't nobody hollering at Mikey, calling for Mikey's job or nothing like that. And we just continue to salute Mikey for the success he's having. But in St. Jude case, when his name not being called, we ain't saying nothing. But as soon as he gets scored on, we saying cut him this. So, but he also makes it hard because those typical times it's always big plays, and it always comes back to hurt us. So it's kind of like a love-hate thing with St. Jude. I would love to see him. We talked about it. He did pretty solid on special teams. So if that takes being demoted to be on special teams, I think he's a good enough person to be on the active every game. He's a good enough player to be active every game, but he definitely needs to figure it out or he's going to be out the door just like the rest of these guys that, from the previous regime. And then as far as like the linebacker play, Lugu was definitely had that drop pick that would have been nice. Like to see him get a little bit more pressure, but he was definitely flying in. I would like to see him convert on some more sacks, I would say, but he's definitely flying in there. He's all over the field and he's energetic, so he's bringing the energy there. And Wagner, I mean, Wagner is, I mean, he's been solid, but I think that he's a liability in the passing game a little bit. So we just got to find ways just to kind of, like you said, that pass rush needs to step up. Yesterday, we resulted in 3 sacks. And I was happy to see Armstrong kind of get in the mix and get on the stat sheet. He's a guy that, as we continue to say, he always does his job in the right place, but he's not really getting a lot of shine, accolades for what he's doing because he's not ending up on the stat sheet. But yesterday, he kind of got in the mix and showed that he around. So I think we should get better, but definitely if John Allen can get back out there, I think some things sure up as far as the stopping the run, which should ultimately help the back end of the defense as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I feel like if Allen, he's able to return, that will bode well for Payne as well, because I feel like they play off of each other in the run game. I feel like when Allen is in there, he's kind of taking on those double teams and it's allowing Payne to work one-on-one where he can he's a little quicker. He can kind of, slip the gaps and stuff like that and get back there and cause havoc in the backfield. But I feel like now Payne is kind of like the reverse. He's kind of like getting the double team blocks and they're kind of leaving Jazir Newton one-on-one and, Shelton Days of the world and the other players, and they're really not necessarily doing nothing or, necessarily collapsing the pocket. It's just like, I feel like we should have got a lot more pressure. And then Frankie Louvu, like you said, he's all over the field. He's that energizer bunny. He brings the energy. He brings the juice. But yesterday, his stat line, he had nothing. He had 1 pass defense. That was it. Bobby Wagner had a total of 5 tackles. And Steady Eddie, Jeremy Chin, say what you want about him, but he had 7 tackles. He's leading the team in tackles. And coverage, I mean, I don't necessarily think he's the best in coverage, but I thought once we got Marshawn on the field, they would kind of bring him down in the box and help out more in the run game, which we saw kind of did happen. But that's my take on it. But I just feel like overall, we just need to step up. If we could stop the run, I feel like we'll be fine. If you keep Marshawn on one side, he has the island, he's locking that down. He's traveling with your best receiver. Then you got Sanford still on the other side, and then Noah I. Like shout out to Noah I. He's been balling. Keep him in the slot. I was under the impression before that I would rather him and St. Jude fight it out, but Noah I's been making plays inside of the slot, so just keep him there. And I think we're fine, and then rotate on the back end with the safeties. But what do you guys think about? People have been calling. I ain't gonna say we, but some people have been calling for Derek Forrest, and why is he not getting no time? Why is he not on the field? What do you guys think you saw in his play yesterday?
Yeah, man, I think I laugh because I see exactly why they don't play him, right? A lot of people, you're right, clamoring for Derek Forrest. I mean, it's crazy because just 2 years ago, he was starting safety, made that. You remember that Jaguars week 1 game, looking crazy, looking good, making the interception to seal the victory. And it's like, hold on, it might be something Derek Forrest here. And then the last 2 seasons, injuries, and then now he just doesn't play. He got his opportunity yesterday, and you see exactly why you don't play. You're getting beat by Foster Monroe for the game. Like let's put it in this proper perspective. This isn't Kyle Pitts. This isn't one of these elusive Brock Bowers kind of guys. This is mano with Foster Monroe. And I could be wrong, but I don't think it was no pick play involved. He just beat you to the pylon, beat him to the spot. Spencer Rattler threw the ball, touchdown. I wasn't impressed with his play, but he's Derek Forrest. He's a special teams guy. And hopefully Quan Martin could heal up, and hopefully, I know he's dealing with a plethora of injuries, but I think the shoulder may be the biggest one. We need him badly because I don't want to see no more deuce on this, at least in the defensive aspects. I don't mind him a special teams guy, but I need Quan Martin and Jeremy Chin back locked in.
I even take Butler back there besides Defoe, and it's telling. It's telling, people have been asking. I ain't saying no names, but people have been asking about Defoe and what he was solid and this, that, and the third. But
The
Yes,
man
that's
was
another
solid. The
example.
man, I think the man's solid for sure. I don't. I mean, unless the injuries just played him and he, you know, what I mean, he's done lost a step, then I get it. He definitely looked. You know, what I mean, I caught another rewatch, and it definitely looked bad yesterday. But I mean, I also look at it as like we was just talking with Ed last night. I think he might got to get his feet wet a little bit more. You know, what I mean, he ain't played on defense damn near all season. I was shocked to even see his name, the back of his jersey on defense. I'm looking like, oh shit, he on the field. So I mean, I think in time he could get better, but I don't know how much time he has because you know, what I mean, as the other guys heal up, he's gonna be phased out. And I mean, you can't forget we still got Owens, who was a solid, you know, through camp and through the preseason, and he's been, you know, he's been on the team all year. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at seeing what he can bring, you know, if need be. But overall, yeah, if Defoe don't tighten up, then he will be yet another previous regime guy that's no longer with us. And it's sad to see because I have real high hopes for Defoe, man, for sure. For sure,
Yeah,
for
no
sure.
question, no question. So, what else do you guys want to add on? You know, defensively from yesterday and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I would just want to see more Marshawn Lattimore. That's the exciting story. Can't wait for this matchup with AJ Brown. More pass rush for me. And just finishing plays. Cause I mean, like that's why it's so hard for me to really point to A1 what you think we need to be better at, because it's like, bruh, if you watch the game, the plays are there. We're just not finishing. Quan Martin get healthy. Maybe John Allen can come back and help out this run defense. But honestly, guys, I'm not, and I don't even mean to like say this about John Allen because I love JA. He's the one of the longest tenure Commander players, obviously Tress Way. But I mean, I'm not missing John Allen. Like it ain't like it's like a
Yeah,
big like hole
tough
that we're
loss.
missing. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't mind having
Mhm.
him back here, but it ain't like, hey John, we need you back. We need you. Sheldon Dave been holding it down. And was it Carl Davis or somebody that they actually brought up
Yeah,
over Fedarian Mathis, which that's another thing too, is like Fedarian Mathis inactive yet again. I thought he was
Yet
hitting
again.
his stride, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So yeah, stopping a run is definitely, up there with some issues that we have faced, but more of the story. Just want to see us finish plays and execute better because the plays are there to be made, and that's what separates a playoff team, a playoff victory, over a team that may get sent home first round.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Looking at the comments over here, just a few little random things people are saying on the IG side is, you know, we better come out firing against the Eagles. We should have punted the ball in that last drive for sure. They said that the flags on the QB hurt us real bad, both on third down. We need to mix in some run plays under the center. The O line was terrible yesterday. Is Osborne going to play next week? Jury's still out on Osborne playing. We'll see. You know, last week he ended up being inactive, so I'm sure they're trying to give him some time to get acquainted with the team, learn the offense, things of that nature. So, you know, I mean, we could see him this week, but I don't know. I mean, we got what Terry was the kids actually had a pretty good game. Crowder was able to get, you know, 3 catches. He showed up great third down catch, and was able to convert on that. Was able to see him get in the mix, and I love to see that. That's my guy. I felt like he would definitely help us in the receiver room and as well as on punt return. So I was definitely excited to see him replace the kids there. And then you still got Luke, you still got Diami. So I don't know. I mean, Osborne may play this week, but I mean, if it's another week where they kind of set him out and let him kind of catch up to speed, I wouldn't be surprised. Because remember when Noah Brown came in, I know for sure he missed that first week, but I'm not sure if the second week he missed as well. But they didn't rush him to come and play. So I don't see the team like rushing Osborne on the field, especially with the other guys kind of get, especially a guy like Crowder, kind of get back in the mix. So it may not be a rush.
Yeah, I thought Crowder came in and gave us some quality snaps yesterday. And like Z said on previous episodes about Crowder, he's always that steady guy that'll come in and slide and make, good catches and stuff down the stretch. So I think he's going to be a little bit more a part of the offense. Alameda Zaccheaus showed me a lot yesterday. If it wasn't for him flinching on going a little too early, he would have had a touchdown. And De'Ami Brown, this is the De'Ami Brown that we've been asking for the last couple years. He just seemed like he was more aggressive. He was more in tuned in the game. And like he's a threat in the screen game, but I feel like you can hit him between those intermediate and those down the field shot plays as well. We also saw John Bates get a catch. Jeremy McNichols had a catch, and Benson I had a reception yesterday. So I think it's going to be a by committee situation with us not knowing what's going on with Zach Ertz moving forward by him being in the concussion protocol, but we'll see. He's kind of had a history of concussions, so I doubt if it's going to be a 1 week and he's back type of thing. I think this is going to linger a little bit, based off of the way his head hit the ground yesterday. But I'm just curious to see just how we show up these things moving into Philadelphia. So do we have any predictions of score this week or keys to the game this week against Philadelphia?
Well, before we do that, I wanted to ask Juan a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So with Ertz going down and being in the protocol, do you think Sanat got what it takes to take over, and we follow behind that with Bates and call up a guy like Yankoff, or I don't know if Cole Turner is still out there, or would you like to see us hit the open market and try to find somebody?
Yeah, man. Great question. I would love to see Ben Sinnott, get his opportunities, and this is his time. He did have a good catch yesterday. Kosin Yankoff, I think he showed a little something in the preseason, if I can remember correctly. But I mean, it's Kosin Yankoff that we're talking about. I'm afraid to throw to John Bates. Last time he was in a key spot, he fumbled the football, so I'm a little afraid to throw to JB. I think, honestly, fellas, even though they're not the best as a group, that I think it's going to have to rely more on the receivers. If you ask me, we got to see more from Luke McCaffrey, who I think is a natural at the kick return position, man. He looked good yesterday as a kick returner. Alameda Zaccheaus, as you mentioned, looked really solid. If it wasn't for him moving ahead too early, he would have had a touchdown. So I feel like it's ways to get over the Zach Ertz injury and miss, because I think he's going to be a huge miss. And a lot of people think, oh, he's 34, 35. They're getting on him about old age, and he ain't really all this. You're going to see how big of an impact he was when he's not out there next week versus the Eagles, because Jaden Daniels, that was a safety blanket for him. And I think this is it. This is an opportunity for Ben Sinnott to show us what he is made of. But similar to like the Derek Forrest thing, I feel as though he had opportunities if they felt like he was able to contribute. Now, I don't know. It could be different now at this point in the season. As Dan Quinn says, at this point of the season, you're no longer a rookie. So maybe early on in the season, he was not necessarily ready, but now he's going to be heavily relied on. You mentioned, obviously, John Bates and Cole Turner. I don't really know about Cole Turner at this point. Kosin Yankoff. I'm fellas think we got to lean more on the receiving core as a whole than the tight end group, because it's not necessarily the best.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. So yeah, Reedie, you said predictions and keys. I think that one key for the Eagles game is that we got to dominate the time of possession. If we do that and keep their offense off the field, I think that helps us a lot. Talking about, I would like to see us get the ball 35 minutes plus. Because that'll kind of help offset some things. And to do that, we got to be able to convert. We got to get the early, got to get the chunk yards on first downs and second down, be efficient on those downs where we can get third and fourth and shorts. Convert on, our short passes, our intermediate passes, as well as we got to make sure that we're running the ball. I think this game is going to take more than B-Rob getting the bulk of the carries. McNichols has been solid enough for us this year where he should be able to get, him and Rodriguez combined should be able to have more than 3 carries combined. You know what I mean? So I would like to see, a good mixture on that because that also keeps them honest, keep the defense honest. I know Eckler has been hurt, and I know he hasn't been there, but I do think that not Rodriguez, but McNichols is still a shifty enough guy to kind of help in the passing game as well. Yesterday, a lot of those, running back passes did go to B Rob. He was able to do well on some, but again, I would love to see a good mix of this so we're not tiring him out and he can have some, chunk plays on the back end. And outside of, dominating the time of possession, we got to make sure that we pressure and limit Jalen Hurts. Hurts, when he gets pressured and you cause chaos, he's not the best quarterback. He's not the best innovator in them times. Now, he will run up a lane. If you don't spy him, he will take off and get chunk plays, scrambling. But outside of that, for the most part, if you can spy him and get some pressure on him and rattle him, I think that we'll have a chance. So that's going to take the defense, like we said, executing, doing their job, and being aggressive because that's what Philly going to bring to us. What y'all got?
Yeah. I first want to start by saying good points. Secondly, play our game. First time versus Philly, again, I say this so many times. They caught us at a time where we were tired, where Jaden Daniels still wasn't 100%. And also, you got to give them credit defensively. They threw some looks at him. Vic Fangio threw some looks at him that obviously, shook him up. But we got away from our game. I want so badly, like I swear to y'all, first play, I don't care if it's a completion or not, one-on-one, Quinyon Mitchell, Terry McLaurin, just throw it up to him so Terry could do what he do because they swear to God, Quinyon Mitchell locked up Terry McLaurin that game. And I'm not even just being a biased Commanders fan. I watched the game. Their pass rush, Zach Bond, all those guys, they didn't give an opportunity for Jay Daniels to look that way. And obviously, Cliff Kingsbury, left side of the field is Terry McLaurin only at that time of the season, right? Jaden Daniels is more comfortable throwing to his right. So you can only imagine if he's having pressure in his face, not as comfortable as he normally is, he's not going to look to the side of Terry McLaurin. Quinyon Mitchell, hell of a rookie corner. He's good, but he did not shut down Terry McLaurin. So that got under my skin because Terry McLaurin is no excuse that he should have had what? Did he have one catch late in that game and had like 0 catches through the first 3 quarters? Like, there's no excuse for that at all in this game. You cannot get away from what made you 9-5. Quick pass game, getting the ball in the hands of everybody. Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, Lama Dizzy, Luke McCaffrey, sharing the sugar around, running the ball effectively. This Eagles team is beatable, man. Like, they're not as good as what their record says. And this is not me being, oh, I hate the Eagles. This is legit watching them every single week. Yes, they had a good victory versus Pittsburgh yesterday. That offense looked better than what it typically did in the past weeks. But they're a team that is Saquon Barkley led, and if you can limit, which we did, like contrary to popular belief, contrary to what the stat line says, those 2 big runs late in the first game is the reason why his stat line looked the way it did. Early on in that game, we limited Saquon Barkley's explosion. We do that again, and we play our game. There's no reason we should lose the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I'm booking a victory.
Yeah, great points, and I Cavi and second what you said. The last 5 minutes of the first game was, what cost us that game. We do what we do best, what we've done all year to get us to 9 wins or 8 wins. Running the football, we are a running first team. Run the football, that opens up our short to intermediate pass game, and then we got to take our shots when the shots are there. Don't force nothing down the field. If you got to dink it, dunk it down the field, dink it, dunk it down the field. Keep this Philadelphia defense off balance, and like you said before. We have to make sure that we block Jalen Carter and kind of try to stay away from or send a double team block to Bond because he's having an outstanding season this year. And I think we'll be fine. Like if we replicate what we did the first time, but kind of just score on those opportunities. You look at I believe it was the second time we had the ball in that game. We go right down the field and score on them. B-Rob scores a touchdown. If we continue to do that, I think we'll be fine. And defensively, just stay in the game, like limit, Marshawn is going to lock down 11, but he got hurt yesterday. So I'm curious to see, is he going to be on the injury report this week? Cause he kind of got rolled under on kind of a drop tackle yesterday. So I'm curious to see what comes out of that this week. But whoever's Lattimore's guarding, if it's either Devontae Smith or it's 11, he's going to lock him down. And then everybody else just do your job and get pressure on Jalen. I'm about to say Jalen Ramsey. Get pressure on Jalen. What's his last name? Jalen Hurts. And get him off the spot and limit, like you said, spy him and limit him from taking off and extending plays. And I think we'll be fine. And I think that just do what we got us here. That's the recipe to success for us in the victory. I'm calling the victory too, because I felt like we should have beat them the first time. So every game moving forward is a must win for us. I don't care what nobody says. Yeah, in the back of our head, we know that they're a tough out, but they definitely can be beat. And they've shown that, down the stretch these last few games.
So prediction, both of y'all calling wins. What's the score prediction? And we can close out.
Well, I don't do scores, but I'm just saying we're gonna have a win. If we run the football and we possess the football, like you said, Z, and keep that time of possession up, I think we walk away with a victory. You on mute, Juan.
Okay.
My apologies about that. I'm gonna go ahead and say 31-18. I think offensively we actually execute again. That score yesterday don't tell the story. 20-19 does not tell the story of that game. 3 missed touchdowns. I think we go ahead and hand the Eagles what they've been waiting for. Okay, Carolina should have got them. I give them credit for that win versus the Steelers yesterday. I give them credit versus all their wins, but there were plays in those games, more so the Carolina game. Come on, my guy, rookie wide receiver with the thick accent, Xavier Legette. You got to catch that, right? The Ravens game. They're finding ways to win. Do exactly what good teams do, but I think that comes to a screeching halt Sunday, and I think offensively we have. I don't want to say an outpour because at this point, 30 points in this day and age is pretty normal. But I think it more so comes on the defensive side of the ball, not being able to get the pass game really going. I think Saquon Barkley is going to do Saquon Barkley things. I don't think we're going to completely shut him down. However, it's going to be a big difference in no Marshawn Lattimore and Marshawn Lattimore this Sunday. And dare I say he makes the difference with Reedie already alluding to, believing that 11 is going to get locked up. And he is dealing with the injury. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead 31-18.
31-18, gotcha. And I say, even though despite being a little nervous about this one, especially like you said, because with Saquon, that's who scared me the most. I think we do pull this out like a 27-24, 24-21. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. And whatever kicker we got is going to make it.
I'm feeling confident about this game. I don't know, like the 2 times we played the Eagles, I felt very confident. They don't scare me, and it's not because they're a division rival. It's literally because of the state of their team. Like, they're talented as all can be, but I felt more nervous about probably the Steelers game, other games on the schedule that I felt more nervous about than the 2 times we faced the Eagles. I really think this time is because we own one, and I know the fellas are going to be locked in. Especially, it'd be different if we maybe blew out the Saints how we should. We probably could have had a little bit, overlooking the Eagles. But knowing we lost on the first time, knowing that the game didn't finish the way we should have, it should have versus the Saints, I feel like we're going to be laser lock focused this week. It's Tell the Truth Monday. And I think it's going to be all systems go, bro. Marshawn Lattimore got a game under his belt. And KJ Osborne, I do think is going to play, and I think he could contribute to this offense more so than Odell Beckham. Everybody want OBJ, but at this point in his career, I think he's just a name, and we're living all 2014. But yeah, man, I'm confident. I'm not nervous at all heading into this one.
Absolutely. Well, Juan, we want to thank you for joining us today for this Monday Command, man. It was a pleasure. As always, we're at every home game, so if you want to come over and hang out at the tailgate, we at E44. We in section 337. Pull up. It's going to be a good time. We could, get ready for this game that we're going to see Sunday. But man, thank you for coming on. We enjoyed you.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me on, reaching out anytime. And my bad for cutting you off, Z, but anytime, man, reach out. I love doing this. I love meeting new content creators. Y'all got a great platform, great quality content at all the home games, and I appreciate y'all for reaching the invite out. And I don't know. It's 2 more games left. I don't know if this season I may make it back out. Who knows? Maybe. But definitely, next time I'm up at FedEx Northwest Stadium, I'll definitely check out the tailgate, man. Again, thank you for welcoming me on you guys' show. That means a lot to me.
No question.
No question. And we thank you for accepting the invite, coming on with us. You know what I mean? Talking about our team. We appreciate you. We shout out for the work that you're doing. We salute that. And you know what I mean, anytime you want to have us on the show, let us know. We open to all collaborations. You know what I mean? This community here has definitely been welcoming. And I feel like, together we all can just definitely you know what I mean, the moon, take it to the moon and run it up. You know what I mean? So let's get it.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe on on Juan Gotti show. Also like, share, subscribe on the Reedie Zee channel as well. And until next time, peace out.